Hi, it's Book Chick, and I thought I would do my May wrap up, which is the books that I read in May. Obviously, I've been reading more books, but like these are the ones that I actually finished. I finished 3 physical books and 1 audiobook in May. Um, as I'm like posting this, it is May 29th, but I have to go out of town, and like we don't have a whole lot of time left in May, so and none of the books that I'm reading right now, like I'm not even close to finishing, and they're not short. It is what it is. Um, so I apologize for the lighting. I'm working on getting a better camera and a ring light. But the first one that I read in May was The Fall of Five. I lost the book jacket a long time ago. This has been on my shelf for a long time. Finally got around to reading it. It's really good. It is part of the I Am Number 4 series, which follows several main characters. All of their names are numbers because they are from a planet that was ransacked by another alien race, and they came to Earth as for like sanctuary or asylum, and they were given numbers to like help keep track of them. And there are supposed to be 10. And like that some of them have adopted like normal names, but some of them like still go by like 4. Um, Things like that. But this whole series is really good, and there's a pretty good movie too. They cliffhangered it like there was going to be another one, and then there wasn't, but still really good. Like, read the whole series. It is YA sci-fi, but they're fantastic. They all have like these crazy superpowers. Like uh, some kids can read minds. Other like they can all like move things with their minds. One girl can like do ice and healing, and like 4 can do healing. It's just really cool, and like all the powers and everything. And then there are like humans that are helping them too, and so like obviously they feel like they're kind of worthless because they don't have any powers, so they're like figuring out like how to fight um like martial arts and stuff, like all that kind of stuff. So they're having to figure that out. And of course, like the Mogadorians are like chasing them throughout the whole book and the whole series. So it's just a really quick read. Like, definitely check these out. Um, but yeah, so The Fall of Five was the first one that I read. The next one was, well, the next physical one was With the Fire on High. This again was on my April TBR. Life has been nuts, so I finally got around to reading it in May. So anyway, this is With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. Um, it is so good. It is about this young woman named Amani. She is 17 years old, a senior in high school, and she is a young mom. She got pregnant in freshman year of high school, and so like this book is about like her senior year, but she also talks about what it was like to be a pregnant teen, and how like all the problems that she deals with being a teen mom. Like her daughter is 2 now, I believe, in the book. So she talks about like being on the train because they live in Philadelphia, and so they're like on the train, and someone like, "Oh, is that your sister?" And she's like, "No, it's my daughter." And then like the judgment on that lady's face and all that stuff. So I just think that it is YA, but it talks about real stuff, not just like, oh, that boy didn't notice me and all of that stuff. Like, it's real. Like, this is stuff that teenagers really go through, and I haven't come across very many YA books that talk about things like that. And like, she talks about the struggles of living in like a low income neighborhood and having to like work your butt off to get by, and like all the stuff about being a teen mom, and the guy that like got her pregnant and all that stuff, and then like finding new love, and like whether or not to go after that or not, like all of that stuff. And she's an aspiring chef, which is why there's like food on the cover. So she's talking about like whether or not she should fight for those dreams and go to like culinary school, or if she should just go find a job. Like, all of that stuff. And it's just such a great book. And it did not end the way that I thought it was going to end. It did end, like, in a good way, just not the way that I thought it was going to. Like, there was a moment where I was like, oh, this is going to be sad. Like, oh my god. And then, like, it had a happy ending, but it just wasn't the ending that I expected. But I loved every minute of this book. I highly suggest that you read this either yourself or, like, get it for your teenage daughters or your sons. But, like, this is just fantastic. Or even, like, read it together if you want. But, like, this has so much great life advice, and it has recipes. So, like, why wouldn't you read it? So, seriously, like, check this out. And then, I'm rambling. I'm sorry. But the next one, that book makes me excited. The next one is Another One Bites the Crust. This one, meh. The other ones, like the first one, The Fall of Five, I think I gave it like a 4 out of 5 stars. With The Fire on High, 5 out of 5 stars. Like, it was that good, and I think I might even reread it someday. This one, 3 out of 5 stars. This is, if you can't tell by the title, Another One Bites the Crust, and the ominous looking pie, is a cozy murder mystery, which basically, like, think of the Hallmark movie channel, or the Hallmark Movies and Mystery channel. That's this, which I usually love. Cozy murder mysteries. I read them really, like, fairly often, and occasionally will, like, delve into, like, regular murder mysteries that are just, like, scarier. This, not scary. That's why it's cozy. It's, like, doesn't describe all the gory details of, like, how they found the body, how they committed the murder, and all that. It just, like, oh, there's a body. Now we need to find out who killed that person. But the reason I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars is because I figured out pretty quickly who committed the murder. It's a cozy murder mystery. Like, you're gonna figure it out fairly fast, and, like, this is a short book. It's, like, 294 pages, but, like, I figured it out before they even found the body. Like, the body disappeared, and then, like, they were talking about, like, oh, who did it? And, like, where did the body go? Was it a hoax? And, like, all that kind of stuff. And I figured it out before they found the body. Like, I like cozy murder mysteries, but still, like, keep me guessing. Like, so, about the middle of the book, like, a little after they found the body, because this book has quite a bit of setup for no longer than it is, a little after they found the body, like, she was like, oh, like, that was too easy, like, they probably figured it out. And so, like, the writer added some, like, other suspects, but at least to me, it was pretty obvious that none of them did it. I'm not going to give any spoilers in case you do want to read this, because it is pretty good. But, like, it was pretty obvious. And, like, by the end, I was like, really? And, like, the way that they caught that person wasn't very exciting. I don't know. I expected, like, something way creepier, like, way more threatening, or, like, I don't know. But I just wasn't very impressed. So, I don't know. I don't know if I'll read anything else by this author, Ellie Alexander. It was okay. But, again, like, a 3 out of 5 stars. But it was, like, a short read. And, a friend of mine let me borrow it, because I like reading about books about food. So, like, I don't know why, but I do. It did have, like, some cute recipes and stuff, and, like, the small town reminds me of, like, a small, like, burg of the city that I live in. So, like, that was kind of endearing and sweet, because, like, they are obsessed with Shakespeare in this book. And there's an area of town where I live that is obsessed with all things Halloween, and, like, Washington Irving and Edgar Allan Poe, and, like, all of that. And, like, there's a high school, the mascot is the Raven. So, like, I found it relatable as far as that goes. Like, I love this. I like small town books too, and, like, especially, like, bakery books. honestly, I think the reason behind that is from watching Gilmore Girls and then like living close to this uh like part of the city that I live in that is like really, it's a small town feeling, and like they're obsessed with things like Halloween and like odd things like Edgar Allan Poe, like that I feel like aren't very common. So in that aspect, I found it really endearing, and like that part was exciting to read. But like the fact that it's a murder mystery, I was like, I guessed pretty quickly who killed the guy. Like, yeah. So 3 out of 5 stars. The other one, I don't have it because it's an audiobook, so I'll leave the like picture up on the left side of the screen. Um, or would that be that side? I don't know. But it was Catwoman by Sarah J. Maas. I'm not sure if I'm saying her last name right. Is it Moss or Mass? But it was really good. I haven't read anything or listened to anything by her before, but I've been hearing really good things about her, and I wanted to delve into some of her books. So none of her other stuff was available on Libby when I like was looking. I was looking for like the first book in is one of her series that she wrote, but like none of those were available. So I wound up going with Catwoman, which turned out to be better than I thought it would be. It follows the main character, Selena, um, and like obviously like they live in Gotham City. Um, she winds up going into underground fighting to pay for her sister's medical bills because her sister has I think it's cystic fibrosis. So like the medical bills are stupid expensive, and there are like lots of them, like an overwhelming amount, and there's never enough money and all of that stuff. And so she's in underground fighting, and basically things go awry, and the cops come and they take her and her sister away, or they try to. But she like beats up the cops, and then this odd lady comes and offers her, like, like this fantastic deal, and uh you know so she says, okay, fine, I'll go with you if you keep my sister safe. And so then the rest of the book is following like her training to become like this assassin, and then eventually like something else goes awry, and she escapes or like runs away, and winds up back in Gotham City, and is basically like stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, and or at least that's the plan. But for a while, like she has this hidden agenda, and like kind of get the feeling it has something to do with her sister, but you're not really sure. And yeah, and then like of course like Batman is mentioned, but she really runs into Batwing more often, which is like Batman's sidekick, and or Wingman, haha, punny. Um and then like she also becomes an ally to Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn. So like it's kind of like a woman's empowerment book, and it again is YA, kind of like adventure suspense book, but like it follows that whole thing, and like you can tell like the whole story is trying to get back to her sister and like make sure she's okay, and make sure that I think it's Nadia. It's either Nadia or Natasha is the like lady who took her away from Gotham's name. Um, the whole agenda is to get back to her sister and make sure that lady kept her word. So like, but that pretty much sums up that book. It was really good, so check it out.